Hello and welcome to the 2018 AIA Florida Post-Session Report. We're going to let you know what happened during the most recent legislative session, and joining us here on set, Mike Huey, counsel and lobbyist, and all-around just person. You have all the knowledge about the legislative process, right, Michael?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
All right. There is so much to report from this year's session. This was a session like no other that any of us have ever seen. But let's get right into it first, and what was your thoughts about the session?
Well, first of all, several things happened in this session which normally do not occur. First of all, we had a number of scandals involving legislators that started the session, and it kept everything from developing the way that it normally does. Secondly, we had a major effort looking at hurricane relief funding, which took a large portion of the House's time. And then lastly, toward the end of the session, we had the school shooting. And all of those things combined kind of preoccupied the legislature this year from doing many of the policy things that they would normally do.
It was like nothing we've ever seen before. So let's get into some of the topics that are of interest to our members. We have members watching all over the state, obviously, and people in the industry around the country watching as well. So what do you think was the most important thing that happened during the 2018 session?
Something we've been working on forever, and that's liability protection for architects and engineers. And in this year in particular, we were trying to overcome some court decisions that had been unfavorable with regard to what we call the statute of repose, which is the statute that provides a 10-year cap on legal actions brought against design professionals. And fortunately, right at the end of the session, we were able to cross the goal line thanks to Senator Pasadoma, who has been our chief proponent for this legislation for many years.
That's the big one. Now, I know there were building code issues in the 2017 session. What did we have in the 2018 session?
Well, fortunately, we didn't revisit the Florida building code per se, but we did have a couple of things touching on that, and it's kind of a continued effort in terms of modifying Florida's reliance on the International Building Code. And here, AIA Florida is the tip of the spear, I'll tell you. There was a move afoot to substantially alter the representation on the Florida Building Commission, as well as to limit the participation of architects and engineers on that commission, and we successfully defeated that this year.
So Mike, the Board of Architecture and Interior Design, we're always interested in what's going on with that. Any news with the session that just passed?
Well, one thing we did years ago, we were able to establish independent prosecutorial counsel for the Board of Architecture. No other regulatory board has that. Once again, this year we got funding for that independent counsel. The other thing that we have done is there was a deregulation bill that's floated for the past 2 years, and we were able to maintain the regulation of architecture as it has been again this year.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time, but are there any other issues we need to discuss? Anything everybody needs to know about what happened?
2 issues. One is the perennial issue involving the Consultants Competitive Negotiations Act, which is the procurement system for governments procuring architectural services. That's unchanged, thank goodness, due to a lot of efforts of the AIA members educating legislators over the years. Secondly, flooding, as you know, has been a major problem in Florida. We, late in the session, initiated an effort which will continue next year to have the flooding issue from a building code standpoint, from a zoning standpoint, from a construction technique and design technique standpoint addressed on a going forward basis in Florida. Hopefully, we'll get the legislature to adopt some very meaningful legislation.
Well, Mike, that's amazing. It's a great update, and it's really just a brief synopsis of what happened. If you need more information, your AIA Florida staff has been working hard all of session to make sure everything is covered. Check it out online on the web, on Facebook, and anywhere else where you get your information. But for now, that is the update from AIA Florida Studios. If you need more information, check it out online, and we'll see you here next time.